All right, let's just jump right in. You know, there's this one patch of ocean that has captured our imagination for, well, for generations, right? It's this place where it feels like the normal rules just don't apply, where stories of vanishing ships and planes have become legendary. So today we're going to cut through the noise, separate the facts from the wild fiction, and really tackle one of the biggest mysteries out there, the Bermuda Triangle.
It all starts with these stories that just send a shiver down your spine, you know? Perfectly good airplanes flying in what seems like clear weather, and then they just blink out of existence.
And it's not just in the air. Down on the water, you hear about these massive cargo ships, even small yachts, that have been lost, a lot of times without a single mayday call.
No wreckage, no survivors. Not even a final message. For decades, that was the story we were told, and it created this incredible puzzle that just seemed to have no solution.
So before we can even get to the why, we kind of have to figure out the where and the what. Let's define what we're actually talking about when we say the Bermuda Triangle.
So here's the thing. You're not going to find the Bermuda Triangle on any official map. It's kind of unofficial. It's this big, loosely defined chunk of the North Atlantic Ocean. The 3 points that everyone basically agrees on are Miami, Florida, the island of Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. And when you connect those dots, you realize, wow, this is a massive and incredibly busy stretch of water.
You know, a legend like this doesn't just pop up out of thin air. It really got cemented in our minds because of one single, absolutely chilling event. This is the case that started it all.
Okay, picture this. It's December 5th, 1945. World War II is finally over. A squadron of 5 U.S. Navy bombers, they called them Flight 19, takes off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's supposed to be a totally routine training mission, but they were never, ever seen again.
Now, what makes this case so haunting are those last, confused radio messages they sent. The flight leader was an experienced pilot, and he's reporting that his compasses are shot, that he has no idea where he is, and his final words were just chilling. Everything looks wrong. The ocean doesn't look like it should. I mean, can you imagine? It just paints this picture of total, terrifying confusion. And the story just gets crazier. A rescue plane, a Martin Mariner with 13 crew members, was sent out to go find Flight 19. And that plane, it vanished too, without a trace. So in just one afternoon, you have 6 aircraft and 27 people just gone.
Flight 19 was really the thing that kicked it all off. But over the years, other stories started bubbling up. And they suggested this wasn't just about things disappearing. Pilots and sailors were talking about a whole bunch of other bizarre, dangerous things happening in that area.
And yeah, the list of reported weirdness is long. We're talking compasses just spinning like crazy, fogs that are so dense they appear out of nowhere, total electrical blackouts that knock out your navigation and your radio. And on top of that, stories of gigantic rogue waves, sudden violent weather changes, even today's high-tech instruments have apparently just gone haywire.
Okay, so we've got the place, we've got the big famous case, and we've got this pattern of strangeness. So the next question is obvious. Why? What is going on out there? Now we get to move from the mystery to the investigation.
All right, so one of the big scientific theories is pretty wild. It involves something called methane hydrates. So just imagine these huge pockets of methane gas that are frozen solid under the crushing pressure of the deep ocean. Now, what do you think happens if something releases that pressure?
Let's walk through how this would work because it's pretty incredible. First, something has to disturb that frozen gas on the seabed, maybe a little earthquake or an underwater landslide. Bam! That triggers a massive eruption. A giant bubble of methane gas just rockets up to the surface. And here's the crucial part. The water right above that bubble suddenly becomes all frothy and way less dense. So any ship unlucky enough to be right there, it just loses all its buoyancy. Instantly. It would sink like a rock, probably so fast there'd be no time for an SOS.
Another really powerful natural explanation? Rogue waves. Now, these aren't tsunamis. These are just monsters that can pop up in the middle of the open ocean. Think about it. A sheer wall of water that could be 30 meters high. That's like a 10-story building coming at you. Something like that could snap a huge ship right in half. No problem.
And of course, there are other ideas out there. You've got magnetic anomalies. The triangle is one of the few spots on Earth where true north and magnetic north actually line up. And that can really mess with a compass if you're not ready for it. Then there's just plain old human error. This is an area famous for brutal, fast-changing weather and hurricanes. Even the best pilots can make a deadly mistake when things get intense.
And yeah, then you've got the supernatural stuff. Aliens, underwater portals, the whole deal. They're fun to think about for sure, but there's just no real evidence to back them up.
So, after looking at all of this, what's the bottom line? It's time to pull all these different ideas together and finally deliver a verdict on the Bermuda Triangle.
And this really is the key. On one side, you have the myth. Some mysterious force, maybe aliens or a portal to another dimension, causing everything. But on the other side, you have reality, a perfect storm of really extreme weather, powerful ocean currents like the Gulf Stream, the possibility of rogue waves and gas eruptions, and, of course, simple human mistakes.
And this is maybe the most important thing to get. Solving the mystery doesn't mean the Bermuda Triangle is some calm, safe place. Not at all. In fact, a lot of people point out that for an area with so much boat and plane traffic and so many hurricanes, the number of disappearances isn't actually that crazy statistically. The real conclusion is that the dangers are very, very real. They're just not paranormal. They are the powerful, sometimes sudden, but totally natural forces of our own planet.
The whole legend of the Bermuda Triangle is a great reminder of how we sometimes look for these huge, extraordinary explanations when tragedy strikes. But a lot of the time, the truth that science finds is just as amazing and way more useful. So it kind of leaves you with one last question, right? Now that this mystery is mostly explained by nature, which one should we point our scientific lens at next?